Today I'm going to talk to you about 10 things that I have stopped doing that have completely changed my mindset and outlook on my reselling business, and that I really haven't missed at all. Hi, my name is Alyssa from Reselling Savvy. You could say I'm giving up. I'm quitting. The basic overarching theme of anything that is on this list is I'm giving up anything that disrespects my time. So it's been really important for me lately to realize that I need to respect my own time because nobody else is going to do that for me. So I need to make the call on what's important and what's not important. And that's not just in reselling, but that's just in life. If you decide that reselling isn't important anymore, no skin off my back, I don't care. But in your life, you need to decide what is important and what is not important. So the first thing that I gave up quite a while ago, about a year ago, I think, was giving measurements on every item. So I used to measure every piece of clothing that I sold. And when I first started reselling, I didn't do that. And this would have been probably 6 or 7 years ago that I started reselling. And I was getting returns opened on eBay and low ratings on Poshmark for items not fitting. Now, when I say I was getting returns and low ratings, I mean it was like 3 or 4 items, but it made me feel like everybody was returning things or complaining, and so I just threw my hands up in the air and I said, fine, I'm putting measurements on everything. I've stopped doing that. It takes me so much more time. I dread it, and it was causing me to not list things because I would photograph them and then I wouldn't want to do the measurements because it was difficult to notate those somewhere. I actually had a pretty good system going where I had pre-made labels that I printed on my thermal printer that said length, chest, waist, hip, etc. And then I filled in whatever needed to be filled in, and I stuck the label on the item and then just took a picture of it and put it in the listing. I still take measurements of expensive items or gowns, things that are kind of an odd fit. If it's vintage, I always take measurements because a vintage size 6 is not a modern size 6, and it's completely different. So I always measure vintage items, and I will measure certain home good items if it is something that might not be clear how big or small it is. But other than that, I don't do measurements on everything anymore. Going along with that, I don't do measurement requests, and I don't answer odd questions. So that kind of all goes into one, but I used to get, well, I still do, weird questions, such as, how many times have these shoes been worn? Or, are you reposhing this item? Or, did you wash this with fabric softener? And I understand, based on various situations, where those could be pertinent questions. But to me, and in my experience, the people who are asking those questions, I would say 9 times out of 10, that's a made up statistic, but generally speaking, like 9 times out of 10, they don't buy it. And if they do, they tend to be the people who are upset. Because if I say, no, this item was not washed with fabric softener or dried with fabric softener, and then they receive it and it smells like fabric softener or it feels like fabric softener or whatever it is that they're trying to avoid, and they open a case against me or they complain about it, then I have nothing to go on. And cases don't scare me. It's just, I don't really need one more thing to deal with. And whatever they're looking for is obviously very specific. And as much as I would like to provide a good experience, I'm mostly selling used items. So if you're looking for a used item in new condition, this probably isn't the place to be looking because I try to do my very best. But if you're looking for something perfect, I'm probably not going to meet your expectations. And I'm going to guess that most people probably aren't going to meet your expectations. I always under promise and over deliver. But even still, if you're a picky person, you're going to be a picky person. So I encourage you to go look somewhere else. And I have people ask for measurements on cheaper items. And when I do give measurements, they don't buy. Yes, it's possible that I'm missing out on a sale. I had somebody send me a message today asking for measurements on a $20 item. And I will kindly respond and say, I'm sorry, the items are prepackaged and I don't go back and measure. But I don't pull something back out to give measurements anymore. That's a personal choice. If you want to, because you feel like you're going to miss out on a sale, great. In my 6+ years of experience, I think I've gotten one sale from one of those odd requests, and I've had thousands of sales. So there's one that I can think of, and probably I would say at least 100 requests. That's up to you. The next thing that I'm not doing is I'm not fretting about imperfections anymore. So I've been doing this long enough that I've acquired a decent amount of gear. I have a nice DSLR camera. I have a light kit. I have a mannequin that was like $20. I have a steamer. I have the general arsenal of reselling supplies. But there were times that I would take and retake photos, or try to get the lighting just right, or I'd put something on a mannequin and then I'd put it on my other mannequin, and if that didn't work, I would put it on a hanger. And if it's a really expensive item, that might be worth it, but that's just generally a waste of time, and that's my perfectionism getting in the way. Good enough is good enough to a certain point, because like I was saying earlier, I'm selling used clothes, and people generally get the idea from the pictures I take. If it's clear, it shows the full item, I don't think I need to redo it. So I've tried to really ease up on myself and stop expecting the type of photos that would be put in a department store ad from my reselling pictures of a $15 H&M dress. I don't really sell $15 H&M dresses anymore, but I used to. That's not one of my things. Maybe it should be. I don't do handwritten notes anymore. I bought business cards in bulk, and I like to buy them in sets of 250, 500, and it feels really good when I get through an order of business cards and then I order a different design. So it's kind of a fun reward for me, and I choose my fancy design, and then I can stop and say, wow, I have sold 500 items since I ordered these business cards. I don't even think you need to send anything, but I used to handwrite every thank you note. And I received an order today that had a handwritten thank you note, and it was a cute thank you card, and all it said was thanks, and then the person signed their name. And that's great. It's cool. But it's kind of a waste, and that person spent time on it. I don't feel any better about my purchase because there was a quickly written, non-specific thank you card. It was just one more thing to throw in the recycle. And I understand that by me putting business cards in there, I'm giving people one more thing to put in the recycle, and that's a discussion I have with myself all the time. So I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry, okay? But I do like to give some form of like, hey, I am professional when I ship my packages because I don't do packing slips. Anyway, but that didn't make me happier with my purchase or feel better or feel more connected to the person. And maybe if you write sincere thank you notes or long thank you notes, it would, but I don't have time for it anymore. And I used to do pretty wrapping, but now I find a whole lot of joy in buying cutesy poly mailers. So I have so many poly mailer designs, to the point that it was probably becoming kind of like a poly mailer hoarding issue, but I'm working through them. So I have different ones based on different seasons. I have Poshmark ones. These are going to be my Christmas ones for this year. And then I just have like plain old cutesy ones. So that's my cute wrapping. You need something that's going to travel well, especially because things are taking longer. I don't know where they're going, like into space and back. You need something that's going to travel well. And I found these. You can use them twice. That's so exciting to me. And it's recyclable. It says you can throw them in your regular recycling bin. So I thought that was pretty cool. No, I don't do fancy wrapping. It saved me time and money. The next thing that I have given up is piling my items that I've photographed without bagging them. So I put everything into one of my clear bags and then I put an inventory number on it. And I've realized that when I don't immediately fold and bag the item, it sits in a pile. And then I don't know completely what that pile consists of. And then things get jostled or lost or it falls onto the floor. And I keep a relatively clean house. I mean, about as clean as I can keep it. But I don't want to give somebody an item that picked up a fur or a hair. So then I feel like I have to wash it again. And it just created this ugly, vicious cycle of work that I created for myself, all because I wouldn't put it in the stinking bag right away. So I take the picture, I pull it down, I fold it, I measure it if it's expensive, if I need to, and it goes right into the bag. Now, I will admit, sometimes the bags kind of pile up, but at least it's protected. I didn't say I was perfect. I just said I'm better than I was. I don't keep bad records anymore. I started off really good. I had a very specific inventory system. I could tell you exactly what store, what day, how much I paid for the item with tax. I was extremely specific. And I'm not here to give you tax advice, but I will tell you, you need to find someone who can and follow their advice. Do what your tax person says. You need to keep specific records. I kind of let things get mushy toward the middle of my reselling career, and it was a mess to clean up. Taxes are hard enough as they are, even when you keep impeccable records. You don't need to make it harder on yourself. So I would find a specific place for your receipts, and I would get with a tax person or have a specific bookkeeping inventory system that you use so that when April rolls around, you are ready to go. The next thing that I have given up, and this is kind of a hot topic, is getting offended by people's comments or questions. And a general theme that you will see with me is that I am not perfect. So I am not making this video to tell you how wonderful I am and how nothing bothers me and I am just the image of what a reseller should be. Because I'm not. But I used to get so upset with things that people would say to me, and it would ruin my day. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but I have realized that it doesn't matter what they're upset about. It really doesn't matter. And I'm always doing my best, and I will make something right if I need to. But some stranger on the internet calling me a cuss word, or my favorite one is when somebody says, well, good luck selling your used shoes for $27.99. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't let it bother me anymore because their hurt is not for me to sort through. I have my own things that I can deal with. I don't need to figure out why this person is upset with me because, and I know it sounds cliche, they're not. They just are more comfortable being upset than they are being content. So I don't let that offend me. I don't let lowball offers offend me. Just today in a Facebook group that I'm in for resellers, somebody was getting upset about why people are offering, I'm having a sale and why are people offering lower than my sale price? I don't know. Just decline and move on. And maybe that's easier said than done. And I understand caring a lot about what you do and wanting to do your best. But at the same time, where are your priorities? Are you going to put all of your energy into this person who's upsetting you, or are you going to put your energy into something that you care about? So this one is not a hard and fast rule, but generally I will not model items anymore. If it's something that looks better on me than it does on the mannequin or the hanger, then I'll throw it on occasionally. But getting requests, hey, can you model this? Or my favorite, you, the letter U, you model, question mark? Well, yes, thank you. I don't answer that anymore. I used to think, probably naively, that this was just somebody who wanted to see how it fit. And generally, I think it is. I think it's people who think that we are all proportioned the same, and they want to know if this dress will hit their knees. And I am almost 6 feet tall, and a lot of these people who ask these questions are asking it about like a size 0, which I am not, or something super short, and I'm like, I hate to break it to you, Toots, but this ain't gonna fit me the way that it fits you. But then there are also the kind of disturbing requests that are disguised as something innocent, like, hey, can you model these shoes? I want to see how tall the heel is. Or, hey, can you model this swimsuit? I want to see what color it is. Or, that's an exaggeration, but it almost seems innocent. And obviously I would not model a swimsuit, but I'm not going to allow anyone to use my materials or my image or me for something that I do not consent to. It's offensive to me to ask for a picture of me modeling something, just kind of in general, but it's violating my space. And so I have become very aware of my image and what I'm putting out. And that's not something that I'm going to allow other people to dictate. It's weird that you're asking me for a picture of myself and I don't know you. So that's where I am with that. And I don't say that to scare you, because it's not a scary thing. I just say no, or I ignore it, or I block them if it's really weird. But I don't model items or post on the selling sites pictures of things that I am in. I mean, occasionally you'll get my scraggly thumb, but I don't typically take pictures unless it's something that I'm comfortable modeling. The next thing that I've given up is scrolling through my Poshmark news incessantly, hoping for a sale or a comment or something exciting to happen. I used to refresh. And I think it's kind of a way to avoid doing work that you think might be ugly or dirty or you just don't feel like doing. And I also think, I had this realization yesterday. I was riding in the car with my husband and we pulled up next to somebody at the stoplight, and as soon as this person's car stopped, their phone was in front of their face and they were scrolling. And I'm not judging this person. I don't know this person. But I kind of stopped and I said, oh my gosh. We are so starved for input, for something that's going to make us feel better or validated, that when we have a moment of downtime at a stoplight, or you come home from work and you sit and you don't have anything to worry about for the first time all day, our first response is, I need something to worry about. I need some kind of input that's going to validate me or that's going to give me something to think about. We're searching for something that I don't think any of this is going to give us. So I would scroll, just hoping that somebody would buy something or make an offer, hoping for something to click and it to just start working, and the algorithm would magically help me. And what I really needed to be doing was solid, substantial things that would improve my business. Listing, relisting, cross-posting, fixing photos if they were really, really bad, shipping, packing, organizing my area, things of that nature. Refreshing my news tab on these sites is not going to help things sell faster. Finally, the last thing that I am giving up as a reseller is putting reselling before family or whatever it is that you find important. I do not have children, so I'm not going to pretend that I know what it is like to do this and have children, but I can offer you the perspective of somebody who is married without children. And I will say that there are times when I don't want to be working on photographing. I would like to go on a walk with my husband, or I would like to do something else that's grabbing my attention right now, and that's okay. I think I used it as a little bit of a crutch for a while. Oh, I can't. I have to take pictures, or I'm sorry, I don't want to go out tonight because I really need to ship these items, or whatever it is. And I'm not encouraging slow shipping times or anything like that. But I think there's a way that we can set our priorities and still get done what we need to get done. I have 2 very young brothers, and one of them came to stay with us over the summer. And I will say that though I do not know what it is like to be a parent, having him here for a week, I did not get nearly anything done. I didn't clean much of anything. I didn't list anything. I barely got my shipping out the door. So that's fine. That was important to me. It was more important to me to spend a week with him than it was to get 20 more items listed. So whatever it is that you value, make sure that you still value it and put it in its place. If reselling is the thing that you want to drop all of your other things for, that's great. Do it. If reselling is something that you do on the side, but it's become so big of a burden that you're losing sight of the whole reason you got started, which was probably something to the effect of, I want to provide a better life for myself, the ones I love, my family, through this business, then is it really worth it? And what adjustments can you make? I hope that these 10 things gave you some thinking points. As always, this is not a rule, but I want you to stop and think about what's important in your business and what's not. Because oftentimes I think we get so caught up in the rat race and the noise and what other people are doing that we don't stop and say, what is working for me and what is not working for me? I appreciate you spending time with me today. I am honored that you are watching me, and I hope that you know how much I care about you and I care about your success, and I hope you have a wonderful day.